All right, Arvin, we're back. Today we've got a really, really important topic, and this is kind of one of the fundamentals, I feel like, of running an Amazon business, which is what are the things you need to be looking out for on a day-to-day or weekly or monthly basis? So we kind of call it our basic account, sweep checklist. What are those things that you actually need to be looking out for and really pinpointing or checking in on a daily cadence, weekly, monthly to make sure your account's in good standing, you're going to be selling at the levels you think you should, all that good stuff. So, do you kind of want to give
Mhm.
us a framework of some of the things that you normally look at?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, everyone or who manage or maintain accounts, selling accounts, they do have different approach on how to actually review the listings or even the selling accounts. So, what I will share with you guys is how I will normally do it. So, let's say, for example, a client just asked me to, hey, I haven't audited their account yet, and they asked me to do a full audit. I will check everything from the FBA settings, see if there's anything that needs to be corrected there. Perhaps didn't set up the auto removal, or they just want the disposal to be on because they don't have a 3PL, whatever. So yeah, looking at that and then confirming it with the client, hey, are you okay with this? Actually, if you do this, you probably would be able to save more. So yeah, the return settings, that information, also with now, I think it was March of 2021 when Amazon implemented it, that the removal of stranded inventory is also different from the removal settings of unfulfillable inventory. So you have to make sure that for all of your stranded inventory, go and check that on your FBA inventory. You have that option, and then look at the stranded inventory, make sure that the auto removal is set. Otherwise, if it is not, Amazon will automatically dispose it. If let's say you have a product that got delisted and Amazon is only giving you 15 or 30 days, and if you didn't reactivate that listing within that time frame, then Amazon will automatically dispose of your product. But
Yep.
if you have that automatic removal turned on, then Amazon will send it to the 3PL or to any warehouse that you assign it to. Then after
So,
checking all of the FBA settings, I will go to the listing and see if there's any potential or opportunity to actually optimize the listing, improve it, like looking at the title. Of course, I will run a keyword analysis by looking at the product and comparing it to its top competitor, and see if there's any keywords that they are missing, or any opportunity that they are missing on those keyword research. Because Amazon is constantly changing. Perhaps on the time that they did their listing, these are the keywords that are actually have a high search volume, but then years or maybe months after, Amazon changed the algorithm, and they now have different keywords that are actually said we should take advantage. So we need to look at potentially improving the listing by updating the bullet points and all that, and then looking at the images as well, see if how important the A/B split testing. So it's
sure.
not just really testing it. So sorry if I'm talking about something else, but then I would consider doing that. Like ask the client when was the last time that you did the edit, or even with the pricing strategy. Look at how much they're currently selling right now. Is there any possibility of like creating promotion coupons, or the strike through price whatsoever? And then sorry, yeah, you can ask me anything. You know that I speak
Well,
nonstop
I
when it
think
comes to Amazon.
what I'll
Mhm.
so just to pause for a sec, what I'll say is you kind of have the things that are the operational things that you should be checking, and then the strategic things that you should be checking. At the basic
Yeah.
level, obviously make sure your FBA settings look correct. Make sure that the address in there is correct. I would recommend, for anyone who's just start setting up their account, make sure you go into your notification preferences and make sure that you have the best email put in there, because you will get emails, and there might be some you want to turn off, but those emails will be kind of one of the first ways about issues going on. Not always, but a decent amount. Then you also, another one that's just a common one we should just make sure we double call out is the refurbishment settings and the removal order settings, as you said. Those should be
Mm-hmm.
something that you hopefully just need to set up once, but a lot of people will either have it automatically checked that they're going to allow Amazon to take returned goods, refurbish them, and send them back out to customers. Generally speaking, we've recommended to clients that that's not what you want to do, and you should uncheck that box because you're giving Amazon control to determine what a new product is, which is not always a good thing, and especially if you have technical products or something like that. And lastly, is on the
Yeah.
removal order settings, as you said, I know that Amazon made some changes and was automatically enrolling sellers into various things, which might be liquidation of goods, including goods that have been in, let's say, if you have a slow moving ASIN that have been in the warehouse for too long, they might automatically
Mm-hmm.
send them back to you or liquidate them. So that you need to check on that stuff. Then you have the strategic side, which is what you're kind of getting into there with checking, hey, what's the pricing at now? When was the last time we looked and did an analysis of the pricing versus our competitors in the market? What about the listing? When was the last time we refreshed, our back end keywords or the front end copy or the A plus, the images? And those are things more on that strategic side that need to periodically be revisited. So those just kind of the points that I wanted to call out. I'll let you go, give it back to you there. What else? What are the other things that you normally look for?
Yeah, of course. I mean, before I continue, it's always just a preference, right? We always have recommendation. Like for example, that you said about the refurbishment. Like we always recommend it to be disabled because Amazon, you're giving Amazon the power to actually do like refurbish the item and do this and that. But still, like with the seller, sometimes they don't really have that enough time to do this or to refurbish the product or send it back to them and check if the status of the item if it's still in sellable condition, and if they're not really facing any kind of issue with the refurbishment on, then it's fine because at the end of the day, if you receive a complaint from customer, there's always a way to actually reactivate the listing. Because as you know, there's an account held violation right now. We'll go deep into later. But then if you receive a complaint there, you can always just address it and say, submit an appeal, do a root cause analysis, and prepare a plan of action. Now, going back to the strategic side, which is we're talking about the listing optimization right now. So yeah, looking at the bullet points, see if there's any update when it comes to Amazon's guidelines when it comes to the detail page, because every category has its own policy, has its own rules. So yeah, checking the bullet points, the product description, even the back end keywords, making sure that you're actually maximizing it to make sure that your listing is actually indexed to the keywords that you want to rank. The other information, because I actually have this thing when it comes to the backend information, making sure that you're actually filling up all of this information available on the backend, because at the end of the day, what you put in there will help you your product to be indexed. Plus, also, if you have that information already there, then you will have full control of your listing when we're talking about retail contribution, right? So make sure you have taken advantage of this and not let anyone who will piggyback on your listing to actually fill up those information, like for example, sizes, color, even if it is not in variation, make sure that you add those information in the backend because that will help your listing to be indexed. Then I don't want to go like I obviously there's a lot more to talk about that, the images, the A plus content, but also I want to talk about the PPC optimization. Or do you want to add something about the listing? I know this is really like a long conversation, but is there
No, I
anything that you
think
want to add there?
Well, I think just another couple call outs I'll make is, the other things that I'm normally checking on a day-to-day basis are obviously the account health dashboard. Make sure there's nothing
Yeah,
there that's going to put your account at risk, checking the voice of the customer. On the inventory
those are
side,
different ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
checking on the inventory side, I always check to see if there's stranded inventory, if we're low on any inventory or getting to that point where we need to restock. For sellers that we've worked with that are FBM sellers or maybe doing FBM and FBA, I've had clients that we've worked with in the past that they are not always on top of getting their FBM orders shipped out in time. And so that's obviously a big one is, we normally will help clients by kind of looking out for those things, checking customer messages to make sure there's nothing approaching or over the 24-hour SLA. Again, these are kind of more of the
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day operational things to check. But things that I would call out. I think then beyond that, we get more into PPC. And also another one I'll call out are just kind of the metric and sales trends, things like the order defect rate, what's our conversion rate at, the business report metrics, right? Are sales trending up or down, or is there a variance, versus what we were expecting, which ties kind of
Yeah.
back into PPC a bit. So I'll give it back over to you.
Yeah, I know that we're covering really, really a lot in here because we're just really talking more on the high level. So yeah, before I go to the PPC side, which is actually planning to talk about this later, but let's talk about it now since you mentioned it. Like yeah, as the part of the operational checking is like looking at the account of dashboard. see if there's any violation or order defect, or even on the customer side, is there anything that about the customer returns, or even buyer messages or A to C claims, especially for those doing FPM. Making sure that you're actually addressing this one, because any kind of violation in here, and if it has a major or high impact to your seller central account, this may cause deactivation. Making sure that, or make sure rather, that you are addressing this proactively, even the compliance tab. Like, because sometimes Amazon will ask you for compliance, especially for toys category. They will ask you to submit certificate or children product certificate and laboratory tests. So check in there. Also for health supplements, I know that Amazon is also asking for some compliance, especially if you have like a health claim on your listing. So make sure that you are addressing them. Then when it comes to the inventory, this is something that, this inventory is something that I really love doing, like projecting it. Running sales report or orders report, and making that, and then you have to see how the sales are performing in the last 3 months. And based on that data that you have, I will help the seller to understand how much more inventory they would need if, let's say, they want to restock 6 months worth of inventory. Based on the current demand in the last 3 months, this is the average daily sales that you need to that you are actually making, and multiply it with the number of lead time for the manufacturer to produce the item, plus the safety stock, then also the number of the amount of time, or the number of months rather, that you want to keep stock. So
Sure.
that's another thing. So you can just give that, this is my projection, this is my forecast about the inventory when I audit your listing. Then now going back to the metrics about the sales performance, as you said, these are all tied up to the PPC, or how the advertising is performing. Looking at the sales metric, all of the CTR, yeah, running all of those reports to see how the selling account is really performing. Is it really doing well, or is there any opportunity to improve? And then also maybe on the inventory side, there are products or ASINs that are not really performing well, and based on the current demand, it will take months, or actually even years, for them to sell out. So I will be proposing something that perhaps you need to put in more budget to advertise this product so that you can sell it out more, or do pricing, strategy to actually reduce it so that people will probably buy it more. Now going back to the PPC side, is that, just checking how the campaigns are doing. If there are any the
Mhm.
naming convention, those are really important, especially for someone doing optimization. If you're just randomly creating your campaign and you don't care about the naming, it's really hard for someone to actually analyze. Especially, if you will download the data, there will be a lot of information in there. It will get confusing if you don't have really new good naming convention from the campaign level to the ad group level. So that's what I will check, and then if not, I will propose to the client to either rename it, or we can actually like create a new campaign. And then see, it depends on the stage of the seller. Are they on the launch phase? Are they on the optimization phase? Or the ranking phase, or even on being profitable? So based on the phase that they are right now, I will like analyze how things are going when it comes to the data that I can download from their seller central account, and I'll make this proposal. Hey, this is probably something that we can do. We can do like campaigns with just one keyword in it, because you want to rank on that specific keyword, or maybe we can do this. Have multiple keywords in it, maybe 5 keywords, making sure that each keyword are within the same search volume rank, so that it will not compete against each other. If you, let's say, for example, you have with 500,000 search volume, and you added 4 with less than 100 search volume, then obviously your campaign will just be allotted to that one with high search volume. But yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about so much details and information about the PPC, because we're just really talking about the high level. But basically, yeah, those are the things that I will check. What kind of campaign, what match type they are using? Are they even taking advantage of the sponsored brand ads, and even the display ads? Is it, because I the display ad is not something that you will immediately launch. It's something that you have
Sure.
to really consider how your selling account is doing, and then maybe if you think that it is actually the right time to do it, to really target your other customers, or maybe someone who clicked on your listing in the past. But yeah, there's so much more to do or
Yeah.
audit on the seller central account.
So I think I just want to throw out we have two resources as well for anyone who's watching to help out, and I'll just share my screen really quick. One is we actually have put together a checklist that you can actually use as a seller, and pretty much breaks down from the main dashboard to performance to orders, inventory, a lot of the things that we've actually talked about. And this is something that we're willing to give out to anyone who wants it. The second thing is if you go to producthouse.com, we've actually just launched fairly recently a chatbot for Amazon sellers to come in here and actually get answers to questions. So you can actually come in here and directly ask, hey, what things should I be checking on my Amazon account on a weekly basis? And it's going to spit out some high level metrics. What are the key metrics I should monitor for my Amazon business? This is a free thing that is offered on the website, producthouse.com, and we'll put a link obviously below the video. If you do want to get the checklist, head to our website and just open a chat down here and just say, hey, checklist, and we'll send the checklist over to you. That's it. And that's obviously for free. So Arvin, any kind of last comments, or did we cover enough for this video today?
Yeah, good. Actually, I like the software. It's really interesting because especially right now, we need to have some tools or AI to actually help us check what's happening on the Amazon world right now, because Amazon's always like constantly changing month by month. Maybe the
Yeah.
policy or the DNC that we know right now will change the next month. So yeah, obviously I can talk more. I'm just really trying to, like when
Okay,
I
we're gonna
talk, I
stop
know
you
there's so
then for
much
this one.
information.
We'll
But yeah,
stop you for today,
but,
and we'll come back and do some subsequent videos on a deeper dive on some of these
yeah,
topics.
perhaps yeah, we can do a specific talk about like the FA settings, the compliance, the listings, and all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and let us know in the comments if you have any questions or there's any other topic you want us to cover.
Bye.